Hello, everyone. I'm Vanessa Reyes, and I'll be your host today. Welcome to the September WildLabs Variety Hour. We are running a little bit late this month because we just wrapped up our 5th virtual meetup season. Last week, we was awesome, all about bioacoustics. And if you missed any of these talks, the recordings are available on our website and YouTube channel. Now, into today's event, we have 4 wonderful speakers lined up for you today. Aamir Ahmad is going to kick us off talking about WildCap, autonomous non-invasive monitoring of animal behavior and motion. Then we'll hear from Kirah Forman-Castillo about MarAlliance sea turtle conservation efforts and the significance of monitoring male sea turtles. Juan Ulloa will talk about an open source Python package developed by him and colleagues to decode nature's rhythms. And finally, we have Emily Dorne, who will talk about no-code AI for camera trap species classification. So we'll also have a brief break in the middle for a fun quiz, as always, and exciting announcements from the WildLabs community team. With that, let's get started. So I hand it over to you, Aamir, if you are ready.
Thanks again, everyone at WildLabs, for inviting me. I'm going to use 5 minutes to talk, and I'll take questions for 2 minutes, as was discussed. I'm going to talk about this project called WildCap, which I'm leading, and the title of the project is Autonomous Non-Invasive Monitoring of Animal Behavior and Motion. I'll kick off with the goal of this project. So what we want to do is to continuously, accurately infer behavior, pose, and shape of animals. And we want to do this on board the system we are using to acquire data. And we want to do it using multiple unsynchronized close-range aerial images. So we don't want to use any other sensors except RGB camera that is on some device, right? And where do we want to do this is in the animal's natural habitat. And one of the key requirements is that we don't want to have any sensors or markers on the animals. Now, split this very quickly into 3 objectives, and I'll talk about what we are doing with respect to each of these objectives. The first one is that we want to have novel aerial platforms for tracking and following animals. It turns out that a lot of off-the-shelf systems or drones that are available are difficult to program. Even if you can do some very basic programming that, for example, give a waypoint, and that's what the drone follows. So since my background is on robotics, multi-robot systems, aerial robotics, we thought, okay, let's try to develop our own systems. And in order to not also, be non-invasive and not disturb animals, one of the things we thought would be ideal is to use airships instead of multi-rotor drones. So we started off with airships. We designed and developed some various airships of various sizes. And I'll show you later how we tested them and what we, found out. And we also, in the meantime, decided to develop some multi-rotor drones and test them and see if the animals are really scared or not. Is of course species dependent thing, and recently we also found that some drones, especially parrot and nafis, as you see in the bottom here, are also programmable to a great extent. So we start using them as well. And then on the bottom here, you see some of our experiments using these drones, and I'll show you some videos later that talk about that. So second objective is going more into the software side. So so all these drones that we talked about in objective 1 have cameras on board, and they are being the images are being streamed to the computer that is on the drone itself for doing various tasks like 3D pose and shape estimation, which you see here on the right. Of course, starting from detection and classifying the species, and then doing 3D pose and shape, and then also doing behavior estimation, right? Inference. So for example, if the animal is walking, or grazing, or drinking, and so on. And then, using all this information and also telemetry information, what we can also do is to get some, let's say, more information about the animal. For instance, its position in the Euclidean space with respect to the camera, or also camera, which means the drone, and also the GPS coordinates if you already know the position of your drone in the GPS world frame. Okay, I should move to the next slide. Yeah. And the third objective is that these are slightly decoupled things I showed you in the first two objectives. So we have the systems to monitor, then we use the images acquired to monitor and do the tasks, perception tasks. How we combine them together is we tell our, let's say, a waypoint planner or high-level decision maker that's sitting on the robot, look, this is how you obtain better resolution pictures. This is how you obtain more accurate, inference of the behavior. And then this information is used by the decision-making, let's say, algorithm of the robots, and then they plan a better path in order to do more accurate perception. I'll not go into many details in the interest of time, but feel free to talk to me later about it. The case studies. So we are working with Przewalski's horses in Hortobágy National Park in Hungary. There we have tested our multi-rotor drones, off-the-shelf drones, and also extensively tested our autonomous blimp. And yeah, I mean, we found a lot of things. For example, the animals are, at least in this park, they're not at all, afraid of multi-rotor drones. They are also not afraid of the airship. But as you might have noticed, they're actually afraid of the shadow of the airship, which was a very interesting find this summer. Yeah, we also tested the off-the-shelf Anafi drones, which you see in this clip over here. In this particular case, they're autonomously tracking one of the animal that we selected on the screen first, and then the drone was autonomously following the animal, or just keeping position hold if the animal was still over there. In the last clip, you saw two drones tracking two animals. Okay, and finally, the second case study that we do is in Kenya with Grévy zebras. Here is like kind of the final result of all the tracking, behavior inference, and using the telemetry to get the position or how far the drone is, or what is its position in the frame of the drone, as well as which animal is doing what, how many animals are there, etc. Yeah, so feel free to reach out to me or look at our code, papers, videos, and thanks to the students for all the great work and the collaborations that I was lucky to build over the last years. I hope I was in time. Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you. Thank you, Aamir, for sharing your fascinating project. Aamir won the first place in the video category of our Tech for Wildlife Photo Challenge this year, and I really love this video. So I think we have a question in the chat. Like, do you want? I think it's Arki. Do you want to jump in?
I can look at
Hey,
the chat.
thank you. Thank you for the question. The airships, or how affordable they are, and are you doing detection of the animal pose on the edge? If so, what kind of platform it is? Thank you.
Right. Thanks for the question. Yes, the airships, right now, they're not extremely costly from a research perspective. I can say that they're under 6,000 to 7,000 euros, and that includes all the electronics in at least one round of helium, which is an expensive gas. But so, for example, if it is deployed at a single park, it's pretty affordable for like Hortobágy, it's affordable for them. Computation is all done on board. We're using sometimes up to two Jetson TX2 boards on the airship. So we do detection. We have demonstrated pose estimation, but in this particular experiment or the video that you saw, we were not doing pose estimation. It was not the goal. We were doing detection and tracking and maximizing the accuracy of the position estimate, not the pose. But we have also done pose estimation on board. So for that, we use two TX2. So one doing the detection, the other doing the pose estimation.
Great, thank you so much. I think there are more questions for you in the chat, so I'm gonna pop you into the chat to pick them up. And now we are going to go over our next speaker, Kirah. Are you ready?
I'll try to do this in 5 minutes. Let's see how that goes. Okay, so we're doing research on male sea turtles and looking at their movement patterns. Just a quick overview of who we are. We're an NGO established in 2014, currently operating in 5 countries. The biggest of those country programs is the one which I oversee in Belize, where a lot of the tagging work is being done. Our mission is to inspire conservation action for threatened marine species and their habitats, and we're focusing on marine megafauna, those large iconic species like turtles, rays, sharks, and critical to this work is working with local communities. Sea turtles, we know, have a complex life cycle. It makes monitoring difficult, especially when we start talking about those last years going off into the pelagic, and for males in particular, who never come back to shore. Females, on the other hand, are relatively easy. So we decided, let's go where the gaps are. We know a lot about females due to existing work. When it comes to males, they spend their entire lives at sea. This provides little opportunity to tag and study their movements, and the reproductive behavior of male loggerhead turtles remain a subject of limited information. So we had a few questions. Due to climate change, many nesting beaches are producing mainly females. Will this reduction in the number of males within the population have significant impact on reproduction, survival of the species? Females migrate for long distances. We know their migration patterns. What about the males? How far are they going? How often are they going? Is this something they're doing annually? And Belize, as a country, has banned gill nets in 2020. And so we wanted to know if that gill net ban has impacted megafauna populations, any at all, including sea turtles and loggerheads. We're using a three-prong methodology, looking at distance sampling, in-water transects. We're using video, baited remote underwater videos to look at relative abundance, and we get quite a few of these. Let's see if this will show. There we go. So we look at what shows up on these camera traps. So we're doing underwater camera traps. Go. And we're putting on what I'm going to be talking mainly about today, our satellite tagging. And just for scale, if you see them, you can see how many guys it takes to deal with one of these males, because the males have to be captured in water. So there's in water capture. We can't wait for them to come to the beach. This is just a release of one of those big guys after being satellite tagged. This gives you a scale of how heavy they are. Off it goes. So some of the results that we've have so far, since we started tagging in 2022, we've tagged 11 turtles. We have 5 still transmitting, 3 males, 2 females, 1 loggerhead, and a hawksbill. So we're focusing on male loggerheads. However, we had the opportunity to put a tag on a nesting female hawksbill and 1 female loggerhead, which has produced, and I will show you, some very good, interesting data set with that particular female. So things were pretty quiet in 2022 until 2023. In 2023, 2 of the male loggerheads from one of our study sites in Lighthouse Reef, and let me see because I can, yes, there we go. In Lighthouse Reef, one of the offshore atolls in Belize, decided that they're going to start moving north. And it went for 2 months. They spent some time in Mexico, and then they came back down after 2 months. In 2024, one of these same turtles also went north again. One of the challenges we're having with the tags is them transmitting for longer than a few months. Then later on in 2023, we tagged 1 in June out in Lighthouse Reef. This is Belize. Within a few days, by the 3rd of June, this turtle was now off the coast of Honduras in the La Ceiba area, and it stayed there for many months. And then in November, it started moving south. Once again, in June 2024, we tagged another male in the north within the same area of the atoll offshore Belize, and it followed the exact same track and went off to Honduras, where it's still sitting at the moment. So we're waiting until November to see where he will go, if he will follow the same track. What the data is not showing us is there is connectivity for males between Belize and Honduras, Belize and Mexico. And they seem to be following the same tracks coming from the same areas. This is our female Peggy. If anybody has been following MarAlliance on Facebook, Peggy has been quite popular and she's brought us a lot of social media recognition. Peggy was tagged in 2023. She stayed there in the atoll for a year, and then in 2024, she took off, and we thought she was going to Mexico, but she went into the Gulf, ended up in Florida, visited the Bahamas, and at the moment, Peggy is moving between Georgia and South Carolina. So this is just a full blown up picture of the tracking and all the animals that we have been tracking. And anyone who's interested can follow our tracking on our website at MarAlliance.org, and you can see all the animals that we're tracking, or you can even adopt one. So what are our conclusions so far? The males move large distances similar to the females, and they may be servicing multiple areas. A lot more work is needed. We've only scratched the surface, and there is a need for collaboration and regional strategies developed. We've always known that for turtles, we have to work regionally. It's not something that one country can do because of their movements. But what this does is that this gives us direct links as to where are the areas for us in Belize that we need to really collaborate strongly with, and how our turtle population is actually connected to the rest of the region. And I did it in 5 minutes. So thank you guys. That's a very, very quick overview of the work. As I mentioned, we're only scratching the surface of this tracking, and it's only preliminary data at the moment.
Thank you, Kirah, for your wonderful presentation. Kirah's presentation also ties with one of our Tech for Wildlife winners this year. MarAlliance got the first place in the community toys category for photo video story. I think Alex shared the link there. So we are running a little bit over time. I had a question for you. Have you observed any evidence of female sea turtles shifting their nesting sites or altering their nesting behavior in response to these rising temperatures?
Yeah, so I will speak from my previous hat working with nesting, because currently at MarAlliance we're doing mainly in water. However, yes, within Belize, there's been a lot of shifting in beach due to erosion and climate change. We're below sea level, and we have seen in one area where they've shifted north. So they're still nesting within the same area, but they relocated the key nesting site to a little bit more, not north, sorry, south. They were mainly in the north, they've shifted south. So they do look for other beaches within the same areas. And this is also happening on some of the small coral keys where they've nested, where some of them have actually completely been have disappeared. And so they've had to shift, but they tend to find beaches within the same area. So the concern is now with climate change, with sea level rise, and they continue to lose, how far will they shift? How far will this movement go?
Yeah. Well, thank you, Kirah. I think there are some comments and questions for you on the chat, so you can pick them up there. And now we are going to move to our next speaker, Juan.
Thanks. So hi, everyone. It's great to be here. Thank you so much, Alex, Vane, and the WildLabs team for this invitation. My name is Juan Sebastián Ulloa, and I'm excited to present using Python to decode nature's rhythm. In this brief talk, I'll introduce a package I've been developing with colleagues to analyze field recordings. Now, in its 6th year, I want to share key lessons we've learned along the way to better support the community. We frequently ask ourselves how to create an impactful toolbook for the community, and I will highlight 5 key messages. First, of course, find a problem, a resource gap, and implement a solution. So in passive acoustic monitoring, what we usually have is very good tools that collects lots of data, but processing the avalanche of audio recordings is nowadays the major bottleneck that slows down passive acoustic monitoring applications in ecology and conservation. And this is why we developed scikit-maad, which is an open source modular toolbox for quantitative soundscape analysis in Python. We've been in GitHub since 2018. We have already 100 stars, 22 forks, is now used by 285 repositories and 8 packages. So we're very glad that the community is using this package. Second, facilitate interoperability and focus on usability. So consider your target users, ensure the toolbot can easily integrate with existing workflow datasets and tools commonly used by practitioners. So this is why we chose Python, which provides a powerful tool for data manipulation, signal processing, machine learning, and much more. We also decided to make a flat package layout. This is opposed to an object-oriented layout. This facilitates the transition for R and MATLAB users. We spent a lot of time working on a comprehensive online documentation, and we designed the package to be modular to give flexibility in the analysis. So for example, we have the sound module, which allows you to work directly with wave audio recording. So sound load, you load your sound, and then you can compute the envelope, compute the spectrum, compute the spectrogram, everything very easily. Then you might want to find regions of interest. So this second module allows you to segment the data, not only in time, but also in frequency. And once you know where you want to compute, you have the signals of interest, you want to compute some features. So we've already implemented 60 of the most popular acoustic indices, and we have other tools too. We have another module that allows you to estimate the sound pressure level of acoustic events. You would require, of course, some data, so the mix sensitivity, the gain, the peak-to-peak voltage of the ADC to get these estimates. And you can use that on another module, which is active space, to estimate the active or detection distance of your signal. You can compute the attenuation factors and simulate the attenuation at different distances. And of course, since these are modules, you can use them sequentially. So you load your sound, you segment your data, you compute features. This is one of the workflows. Or you can load your sound, estimate the sound pressure level, and then compute the detection distance. We have everything in an online documentation that includes basic and advanced example to facilitate people to understand all the functionalities that the package has. Then 3, ensure accessibility. We strongly recommend to not only publish your code in open source, but also use software that is open source. So this would allow to promote the reproducible research, democratize access to the state-of-the-art developments, and facilitate collaboration. 4, establish a feedback loop. So this is an interesting feature of GitHub that allows users to report issues, suggest features, and provide feedback easily. It helps keep the toolbox relevant and responsive to the user needs. And finally, commit to long-term maintenance. Continuously update the toolbox, fix issues, and support the community as it evolves. When we first started the project, we were working on Python 3.6. Now we are in Python 3.11, and this requires some effort. In conclusion, Python is a fantastic environment for quantitative signal and sound analysis, making it a powerful tool for bioacoustic research. Scikit-maad serves as an accessible gateway to a rapid growing ecosystem of Python tools, seamlessly integrating with well-known libraries like NumPy, Pandas, scikit-learn, and others. By contributing new features or reporting issues, you can be part of this thriving community effort. We envision a robust ecosystem of open source packages for bioacoustic and ecoacoustic research to support biodiversity conservation worldwide. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias, Juan. Thank you so much for presenting scikit-maad. I personally love Python, and I find it simpler and more versatile than compared to R or MATLAB. So it's great to see such a powerful tool available for bioacoustics community in Python. Also, for those interested, there is a discussion thread that Alex shared the link on the chat about this packet. So as we are running out of time, I'm gonna direct you to that thread if you want, or put your questions in the chat, of course. And now we're gonna move into our ad break. So Alex, I hand it over to you.
Woo, okay, let me get my screen share. Can everyone see whale? Or no?
Looks great. You're good.
Okay.
Beautiful.
This was very scary. Welcome to the Variety Hour ad break. We've got some exciting announcements, reminders, and of course, as always, a fun quiz, which may or may not include an incorrect fact about wildlife. That is to be determined. So first up in our ad break, just a reminder that the WildLabs Network survey is live and is open through October 31st. I think somebody is going to be dropping a link to that survey in the chat. This is a great opportunity to tell us how you use WildLabs, what you find useful, beneficial, what we can improve upon. Again, it's open until October 31st. And in the past, results from these surveys have led to us making site improvements, launching products and features like the inventory. So your feedback is incredibly valuable to us because we value your opinion and value what you value in WildLabs so incredibly much. So please take the opportunity. It should take 10 to 12 minutes to fill out this network survey so that we can get a sense of how we should continue this program in the future. There's also a QR code right here at the bottom if you want to do it on your phone as well. Next up, I'm going to pass it over to Juan and Vanessa to talk about our newest WildLabs group.
Thank you. Thank you, Alex. We are really excited about this new Latin American group. I think it's a fantastic opportunity for everyone in the region working on conservation technology, as well as people from around the world working in our region to come together and connect and share and learn and grow together. So I really hope to see a lot of people joining this new group after this meeting. And yeah, we also want to hear from you. What would you like to see in this community? Juan, do you want to add something?
I just want to emphasize that you are welcome to write in Spanish, Portuguese, or whatever language is more convenient to you. I feel it that sometimes it's hard for me to write in English. So go ahead and just write in whatever language you're more comfortable so we can start other kinds of discussions.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You're good. We're super excited that this group is up. And this QR code here, which I think Stephanie just dropped a link in as well, is a discussion thread to share, what you'd be interested in getting out of this group to help, sort of chart the course of how this moves forward. And we're super, super excited for Juan and Vanessa to be leading us on the ground with this awesome Latin America community. Anything else about that was the news, Steph. So it's not news like that you don't know, but it's an exciting update for the community.
Excellent. I approve. I approve this message.
Great. We love that. And that is the perfect segue to get into our quiz today, which has a Latin America theme. Last month, we had an East Africa theme to honor our colleague Esther, who is leaving to go pursue a master's degree. And today, we're honoring the Latin America community and wildlife and biosphere with a Latin America quiz in honor of this new group that has been launched. And I made this quiz, and if you have a problem with any of the questions, come find me, because that's what happens every time. Okay, first up, how much of Earth's biodiversity is found in Costa Rica? Is it 3%, 6%, 7%, or 2%? Drop your guesses in the chat, and we will reveal the answer. Okay, we're seeing some A, we're seeing some C, some 7%, a mix of numbers and letters. B, C, okay. Seems like it's large.
Alex, do you want a co-host?
That'd be great.
Assistant? Okay.
Be my assistant.
Vanessa, do you want to be the assistant or will I be the assistant?
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay, you be the assistant.
Yeah.
We're getting
So-
some people talking seriously about airships, distracting from the quiz, but that's okay. We accept serious chat amongst quiz chat. Okay, Vanessa, over to you.
Yeah, it's quite kind of confusing having letters and numbers.
Well,
mixed.
I'll make it simple.
So
The
yeah.
answer is B, 6%, according to the Costa Rican embassy. So if they're wrong, then I'm wrong. But this is where I got it. This is where I included data sources on all of these slides just to have some sense of backing. And we love our Costa Rican community. Frank, who lives in Costa Rica, shout out to Frank. Second question. The Galapagos Islands are famous for their blue-footed boobies. Their name derives from the Spanish word bobo, which means what? Is it silly, strange, beautiful, or giant? And you might notice that this photo's credit is by me from when I went to the Galapagos Islands a few years ago. So I wanted to share that as well and boast about that. So it was a great time.
That's a great picture.
Thanks so much.
So we're getting a lot of A, B, D, most A, I think. Silly.
And
So
that should be correct according to the Cambridge English Dictionary. But I will also defer to my Spanish-speaking friends in this call.
that's correct.
Great. Question 3. In what country will you not find the guanaco, wild llamas? I don't know if I'm saying that right. Guanaco?
Guanaco
Nice.
or
Is-
Sama. It depends on
Oh.
the country. Juan probably would say llama or something like that.
Oh. Well, is it Argentina, Bolivia, Peru, or Colombia? Okay, I'm seeing.
A lot of D, Colombia. I think Colombia is a winner.
And
Colombia.
according to National Geographic, I believe that these llamas are mostly found in high altitudes, which does not include Colombia.
Yeah.
National Geographic.
Guanacos are so cute.
They're so cute.
I love them.
This guy's making a fun face. Next up, true or false?
Yes.
Giant river otters found in the waterways of the Amazon, Orinoco, and La Plata can grow up to 2.5 meters, which is 8.2 feet for the Americans, in length. We're getting true.
0.5 meters.
True.
Okay. A lot of true.
Trues. We're getting one false. Frank's asking.
True. I think that's a lot. I would say false.
Okay, Vanessa says false. And right. Both the world's largest otter and largest member of the mustelid family, it can reach up to 6 feet, which is 1.8 meters. And that's from Amazon Aid. So take it up with them if you have a problem with their lengths of river otters. And these guys are scary looking, to me at least. I don't know about you guys. Next up, we've got a cichlid question. What type of cichlid is not found in Latin America? Is it A, the green terror cichlid, B, the firemouth cichlid, C, the convict cichlid, or D, the Jack Dempsey cichlid?
That's a hard one.
This is a hard one, and it was mostly to be funny because of the cichlid disaster of August 20.
So we have D, C, most D's, I would say. Jack Dempsey. Yeah. Some.
All over the place. Stephanie's in there with E.
There's no E option.
The closest answer, none of the above. They're all found in Latin America. And I didn't want to put a source for each one of them, so I'm just asking you to trust me. But I can find them if you want.
So the correct option was not there.
Yes, it was a trick question.
So, yeah.
So E really is
Sorry, Jack Dempsey. I actually cannot pronounce it on the recording. But Jack Dempsey, I think I was thinking of Jack Dorsey. I was like, the founder of Twitter has a fish named after him? Not correct.
I thought of Patrick Dempsey, the actor from
Oh, yeah. Okay. I cannot believe that's all true. I cannot believe that. Wow.
It's crazy. So many cichlids.
Just trust me, okay?
I can share sources if asked, but I didn't. This took a long time to put together. Okay, next question. What Latin American country do monarch butterflies migrate to in the winter months? Is it Belize, Guatemala, Mexico, or El Salvador?
Mexico. Carly says Mexico. Some
So,
El Salvador, Mexico, Mexico, a lot of Mexicos.
and that is correct. They migrate to Mexico in the fall months, and actually there's some it coincides sometimes with the Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos, which is like a very fun cultural tradition in Mexico, where people think that the monarch butterflies represent the souls of their loved ones, which I think is a really beautiful tradition. And I also love monarch butterflies. So there's also an anthropology fun fact for you. Was there one more question? Yes, there's one last question. What is one theory why the fringe-lipped bat, which is found in Latin America, looks like how it does, which is a little bit freaky? One, A, is it secrete toxin-neutralizing chemicals. B, to filter fruit pulp from juice. C, providing tactile feedback while foraging. Or D, to scare off everybody.
I think B, a lot of B, filter fruit, and C's.
All right.
B, C, D, because of Halloween.
The answer is, or at least the answer of one theory behind why it looks like this is A, secreting toxin-neutralizing chemicals.
Okay,
There's a
we actually have one.
There's a different bat that also has a crazy looking face that its face is for the filtering fruit pulp from juice, which is where I stole the answer from as a red
So
herring.
Aida was the only one correct. Let's say A.
Congratulations. And I'm glad that this was apparently the correct level of difficulty. Thanks so much. That's been the WildLabs Variety Hour ad break. Thank you for joining, and let me know if you got anything.
We're pausing for 1 second to extend it for.
Yeah, sorry, Alex.
Sorry.
I was not concentrated when you asked this in our Slack earlier, but just letting you know that the Boring Fund application period is closing in exactly 1 week. So don't hesitate if you have any project that you think that might be supported or any question. I'm happy to answer them.
Perfect. Thank you, Adrian. And that concludes the WildLabs Variety Hour ad break. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Wonderful. Thank you, Alex, for this awesome quiz. So now I'm going to move into our final speaker. Emily, I hand it over to you if you're ready.
Great. Perfect. Well, hi, everybody. I'm Emily Dorne, and I'm really excited to be talking today about no-code custom AI for camera trap species classification. And more specifically, I'm going to be sharing about current and upcoming Zomba Cloud functionality. So I guess, drew the lucky straw and got 15 minutes. So I get to cover a little bit more today. So this is the lay of the land. I'm going to start off and tell you a little bit more about driven data and our conservation work. And then I'm going to share about our ongoing WildLabs project that's focused on custom image models. And lastly, I'm going to tell you how you can get involved. So here's your TLDR on each of those in case you get distracted by the chat or have to hop off early. So our conservation work is focused on Zomba Cloud, which is an application that lets you run and train species classification models on camera trap data without writing any code. And the exciting news here is that image functionality is coming to Zomba Cloud, thanks in large part to support from the 2024 WildLabs Awards. And the way that you can get involved is if you are a camera trap user, you can greatly help us out by filling out a short survey that is at tinyurl.com/Zomba survey. And we're hoping to learn more about the main species and habitats in which you're using camera traps. And you can also offer to be a beta tester if you would like to help test out some of the custom image model training workflows. So let's get into a little bit more detail. So what is Driven Data? Driven Data is a data science and machine learning consultancy in the social impact space. I'm a lead data scientist there. I've been on the team for about 6.5 years. And we have the privilege of working across a lot of different subject matter domains. So just to give you a sense of what I've been working on this year, I've been doing harmful algal bloom detection in small inland water bodies. I've been helping to build an application that supports survivors of human trafficking and other forms of exploitation. And I'm also the technical lead on a lot of our conservation work, which is focused on species classification and camera trap data. So despite this varied number of domains that we get to work in, we do have some kind of organizing types of work that we do. So the first is running online machine learning competitions. We have a community of over 100,000 data scientists that have been participating in competitions that we've been running for the last 10 years. And this is a really great way to explore the problem space, especially when it's, a predictive modeling problem, and really getting to benefit from kind of crowdsourced approaches. All of our work that is not competition goes into our direct consulting bucket. This sort of direct client engagement really varies, right? This is going to depend on like the specific organization that we're working with. So this could be things like insights in a slide deck, or it could be, a fully fledged web application that's running trained machine learning models under the hood. And I'm going to give you an example of that today. And then lastly, we devote some of our time to developing open source projects. So if you're a data scientist, you might know of driven data through cookie cutter data science, which is a reasonably standardized project structure template that really helps support reproducible data science work. A lot of our open source projects have started off as like things that we built internally that were useful for our team, and then we open sourced them because they became useful more broadly. Sometimes we also use open source packages to kind of carry forward the results of machine learning competitions and make them more accessible. So in the vein of our conservation work, this work has really spanned kind of all three of these issue areas, and I'm going to give you more of a view into that. I wanted to just talk briefly about kind of why we work in the conservation space, because since we have kind of this broad mandate of working data science, machine learning, and social impact, how do we choose which areas to work in? And they're really centered around where are the places where data science and machine learning can really help organizations make better use of data and do more impactful work. And that's absolutely the space, absolutely the case in conservation. So as many of us know on the call, camera traps are widely used by researchers, conservationists, and park managers to monitor wildlife without human interference, which is great. The downside is that they generate an enormous amount of footage that needs to be reviewed and manually labeled by humans to actually go and identify the images and videos of interest. So we have this big bottleneck that makes it hard to really derive all of the value out of camera trap data. And this is where the potential of machine learning comes in, because machine learning models have shown real success in classifying species that are present in an image or a video, and this can save countless hours of human review. And this allows us to then derive more value from that data, so that it's not just sitting on hard drives that people haven't gone through, but lets us now go and say, okay, these are the videos and the images that we care about. Now let's go and do kind of that downstream conservation work. That's where all of the impact happens. So in this space, as I said, we've been kind of our machine learning competitions and web applications and open source tools all come into play. So we got our start in conservation work back in 2017 with one of the competitions that we ran. So this was the Primatrix factorization competition that was focused on species classification in camera trap videos. And this was run in coordination with the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology. Since then, we've run other camera trap specific competitions as well. So we had the Hakuna Matata, which is probably my favorite name of a competition that we've run, that was focused on a species classification at the image burst level. And then we also ran a competition on depth estimation, so estimating how far away the animal is from the camera, which can be really helpful when combined with species classification to get to abundance estimates. So as I was saying, competitions are really great for exploring the problem space, understanding how well can machine learning do at this task, what are the promising methodologies and approaches, how accurate are they? But what comes out of competitions looks closer to research code that has been kind of run once, rather than code that is really easy to be run by lots of other people in a generalizable way. So to carry some of these approaches forward, we developed the Zomba Python package, which is based on a number of those winning approaches from competitions with additional updates and retraining. And this is really a great way to be able to train and run species classification models and depth estimation models in a kind of robust and configurable way. This works if you are familiar with the command line or you love Python, which is some people, but really not the majority of people in the conservation space. And so in that sense, the Zomba Python package is really an intermediate output to Zomba Cloud. So Zomba Cloud is a web application, so really user-friendly point-and-click interface that lets you train and run these species classification models, but without writing any code. And so under the hood, it's running Zomba, but to the user, you don't need to have any of that programming experience. So we're going to dig more into what does Zomba Cloud look like and why is it really useful here. So we're going to look at species classification on ZombaCloud, as that's the primary focus. And then one of the most unique features in ZombaCloud is its support for custom model training. And so I want to hit on more why this is really important and what this looks like. And lastly, I'm going to touch on video and image support. So this is what species classification looks like on ZombaCloud. You start by uploading your videos. This is just a drag and drop. If you've got videos on an FTP server, you can also point to that and we'll pull them over. Then you select your machine learning model that you would like to run. ZombaCloud has a number of default models that we have trained that are doing species classification on videos. So we have 2 different African forest models that are primarily kind of jungle species. There's 32 categories in there. We've got a European model with 11 classes, and then we also have a blank detection model, which is really important for videos. So once you've chosen your model, those model predictions are running in the cloud. You can go about your day. We'll send you an email when it's ready, and then you can log back in and actually see the predictions on ZombaCloud. You can review those videos, watch them, and then we show you underneath the probabilities with this nice bar. So you can see what's estimated to be in the video. And then you can also start to review and say, where is this model getting tripped up? Where is it more and less reliable? Because you can do that review of the prediction side by side with the video. You can also just download those predictions, right? We're not trying to lock you in or anything crazy like that. You just download labels, you get a CSV that you can then use in Excel or other statistical software. And this makes it really easy to then go do whatever filtering or next kind of downstream task that you want to do, whether that's going and watching certain videos that are high probability of an animal, or getting rid of videos that are very likely to be blank, etc. So this is just a CSV that contains those individual species probabilities. And then we also do some kind of convenience columns that pull out the top 3 labels and probabilities to make this even easier to use. So at a high level, this is what running machine learning models in a code-free way looks like. You upload unlabeled images to ZombaCloud, you select your pre-trained model, and then you get predictions out. But what happens if there's not a pre-trained model for your species or habitats? Right? This is a really common problem because we know that camera traps are used all over the place to do a whole lot of different things. So we know that camera traps are used across a variety of habitats. So they can be used in jungles and savannas and underwater. We know that people are studying different things. People are studying animals and insects and even weather patterns. And even where people are kind of quote unquote studying the same thing in the same place, the taxonomic rank that they care about can vary greatly. So what is an antelope to one person is a red duiker to another. So we're strong believers that there's not just a single set of pre-trained machine learning models that are just going to work for everybody. And so we really need to think about how do we support people in training custom models that are specifically designed for their use case. We really need to talk about accessible custom model training, because while it is technically very feasible for data scientists to fine-tune models, what we really care about is bridging this gap between the technical feasibility of doing that and the practical ability for conservationists to actually use and run them. So that's why we care a lot about making it easy to train custom models in a code-free way through ZombaCloud. So this is what that workflow looks like, again, at a high level. So if you are training a model, then you're starting with images and labels that are associated with those, and that's what you're uploading. You then click a button to kick off model training. And there's a whole bunch of things that happen on the back end that figures out how long the model should train for, and what portion of the data we're going to use to validate the model, et cetera. And so none of those decisions are ones that the user has to make. We let you know when that model is done training. We report out some metrics on that. And now that model is in your account and ready for use. So now you can go through that standard inference workflow that we were just looking at, where you upload unlabeled images, select that custom model, and get out predictions. There's also functionality on ZombaCloud where you can choose to make a custom model that you trained available to other ZombaCloud users. So you can choose to say, no, I just want to keep this in my account, or actually, this is a great model. Other people are going to benefit from it. And so let me share this. And so there's really that opportunity to kind of raise all boats as people are training good models based on their data. So ZombaCloud currently supports camera trap videos, as it was developed in partnership with animal behaviorists at the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology. And if you're doing animal behavior work, then videos are just a much richer signal than images, especially if you're studying things like interaction and tool use. And so that's why this initial focus was on videos. Since its inception, ZombaCloud has processed over 900,000 videos to date. We have over 300 users on the platform, and we have 4 kind of official pre-trained models in there for videos that have been trained on over 250,000 videos. But we know that this problem isn't unique just to people who are working with camera trap videos. And so that's why I'm really excited to announce that image support is coming soon. Supporting images on ZombaCloud is the focus of our WildLabs award. And we're really excited about this because it makes ZombaCloud useful to all camera trap users. And as I was saying, this need for custom model training is not specific to videos, it's specific to people who are using camera traps more broadly. We're also just really well positioned to do this work because working with videos is actually just a technically harder problem than working with images. And so the fact that we got our start doing custom model training for videos makes us really well positioned to implement this for images as well. This is the kind of state of the WildLabs project at a high level. We're writing code in that Zomba Python package to work with images, and we're collecting our data sets that we're going to use for training. The high level here is we're about 50% of the way through the project, and you should keep an eye out for image functionality on ZombaCloud in early 2025. But you don't have to wait until early 2025. You can get involved now. So we would love if people who are working with camera trap data could fill out the survey. It's at tinyurl.com/zombasurvey. It's about 15 questions, should take you about 5 minutes. And we're interested really in 2 things here. The first is that we want to hear more about what species and habitats you're using camera traps for. So as part of the grant, we're releasing some pre-trained image models on ZombaCloud. These are like the default image models that are available to everybody. And so we would love for these to capture common species and geographies so that they're kind of as useful out of the box as they can be. For some people, these might be sufficient and they won't even need to do custom model training because these really tackle kind of the most common use cases. As a bonus, if you have labeled data on these priority species and geographies that you would like to share with us so that we can use those in training the models to make them even better, we would love to hear from you. The second way that you can help out here is to offer to be a beta tester. So if you are somebody who has labeled image data and you're interested in custom model training, come be a beta tester. This basically looks like getting early access to this functionality, and then you get to help us find the bugs, find things that are wonky, give us some feedback so that we can really improve this experience for everybody who's coming after you. Lastly, other ways to get involved today, you can sign up at zombacloud.com and create an account. If you go to zombacloud.com, there's a little sign up box in the upper right corner. If you've got camera trap videos, then have at it right now. If you've got images, coming soon. And then lastly, if you have feedback or thoughts or want to collaborate, you can get in touch with us by sending an email to zomba@drivendata.org. So thank you all so much for your time and attention. Looking forward to chatting more with you all. And again, this is the URL for the survey. Thanks again.
Thank you so much, Emily. This is just amazing work. I would think like you are developing all this great tool, like it's super important and an open source tool for the community. And I was wondering how the community could help make your work easier and improve even more this tool. And you just answered that with your survey. So I would encourage everyone working with camera traps and images to go and fill that survey. And yeah, I think like in bioacoustics, this is just, there's a strong need for these kind of tools as well that streamline data analysis and allow researchers to focus more on their science rather than on coding. So I think your project is just a perfect example of how technology can bridge these gaps and bring more people into conservation tech community. So I think, let me check the time. I think we are, maybe we can have time for just one little brief question. Rob, do you want to ask your question?
Great talk, Emily, and really amazing contribution. I just wondered, is there an Australian specific data set yet? Because think I went and checked it out and I couldn't see one, but I might be wrong.
Yeah, we don't have one right now, but we do have one user who's trained their own custom model to study wombats in Australia. So we've seen some, Australian focus for the video fine tuning. But yeah, no default models yet on that.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm gonna wrap up here for the recording purposes, but just so everyone knows, if you want to stick around, we'll hang out for about half hour after stopping this recording for a more casual chat, and you're welcome to stay if you like to. So a huge thank you for all our 4 speakers, Aamir, Kirah, Juan, and Emily, and to the community for joining us, and also big thanks to Alex who pulled this all together. And again, let us know if you'd like to be connected to learn more, and see you next time.